This has been your Rainier Avenue Radio Traffic Update.
All of us have struggled through the COVID-19 pandemic, and many of our communities have been particularly hard hit. Some things definitely need to change, but a few things should stay the same, like protecting your child from serious diseases you can prevent now. Preventable diseases like measles, mumps, and whooping cough. Is camp, childcare, or in-person school on your family's agenda? Give your child a healthy and safe summer and school year by making sure they're up to date on vaccinations and well child visits. You have the power to protect. Call your healthcare provider to find out what vaccinations your child is due for and make an appointment today. If you need help finding a provider, visit parenthelp123.org or call the Help Me Grow Washington hotline at 1-800-322-2588. An interpretation is available.
Hello, listener. What's important to you about what's going on in your community? Are you interested? Are you concerned? In any case, I invite you to tune into my show, Seattle Here and Now, on Rainier Avenue Radio.org. Why? I will be covering a wide range of topics important to you and impacting the community. Each show will have a special guest or guests to share with you information on a variety of subjects that are happening here and now in Seattle. I promise I will work hard to make my show informative, interesting, and entertaining. Be sure to listen to Seattle Here and Now on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Sergio LaCour's Love Lines is on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Thursday nights at midnight Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific. Music and dedications for the grown and sexy.
This is a Rainier Avenue Radio.world community resource public service announcement. The King County Sexual Assault Resource Center operates a 24-hour resource line for survivors, family, community members, and bystanders to get support. 1-888-99-VOICE. Advocates will answer your call, provide crisis intervention, information and referrals, and ongoing support in English and Spanish. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 1-888-99-VOICE. Find King County Sexual Assault Resource Center at kcarc.org.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not driving my sweet AMC Pacer through the car wash, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world. You missed a spot.
Welcome to Rainier Avenue Radio. This is Afternoons with Monique, recording live in Seattle, Washington, every Thursday at 1 p.m.
Good afternoon, Seattle. Monique Lee from Afternoons with Monique, and you are on Rainier Avenue Radio. Today, I have the pleasure of inviting on my show the fourth mayoral candidate in the upcoming election for Seattle Mayor, Lance Randall. Please welcome to Afternoons with Monique, Lance Randall.
Hello, Monique.
Good afternoon. How are you, Lance?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So it's a busy Seattle mayoral race, yeah?
Yes, very busy. Very busy.
Yeah, lots of candidates. And I understand, well, it's like that last election too. There are a lot of hats in that ring. And I've had on my show several candidates before you. So let's get to know you a little. You know, where were you from? And how long have you been in Seattle?
Well, I'm originally from Macon, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been in Seattle since 2007.
Okay. So how do you like it here? Obviously, you are running for mayor, so I'm guessing you like the city and want to represent it?
Yes, I love the city, and that's why I've decided many years ago to make it my home. So after almost 15 years being here, I consider myself a Seattleite now. So right. Yes, I love the city.
So now I know you have several job titles in your bio. What is it that you do? I know that you've been doing political strategist or something like that for a number of years. Tell us about that.
Well, my family is a very political family. My grandfather was a civil rights leader, right, and also a county commissioner. My father was an attorney, working with the NAACP in New York, Connecticut, Delaware, places like that. And he was also a state representative and a civil court judge. So he has 44 years in public service. My younger sister was also a state representative as well, 18 years as a state representative. My grandfather was a county commissioner for 6 years. I forgot to say that. But me personally, I've worked for a U.S. congressman, a guy by the name of Sanford Bishop. I've also worked for a state senator by the name of Gloria Lala in Maryland. And I've also worked for 4 mayors in Georgia and under 3 mayors here in Seattle, that being Greg Nichols, Mike McGinn, and partially under Ed Murray.
Wow, all these great names from the past. I do remember these mayors from before.
Yeah, I had a chance to work under 3 of them over the last 14 years since I've been here.
Yeah, I have to apologize. My phone is running out of battery, so I got to plug it in. So I disappeared from the screen for a second there.
Yeah, I understand.
So you've had a lot of involvement with city politics, and you understand how the city works. And working with ex-mayors, you probably know the growth and changes in the past, not just the recent past, but going back 13 years, I would say, since you've been here?
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to work under 3 mayors, and I've seen the city change, and it's quite interesting what is going on. It's very interesting.
Would love to hear your perspective today. So your campaign is running for Seattle mayor, and there are several key issues that all the candidates talked about. Urban planning, which is your specialty, city revitalization, homelessness, and police accountability. So these are 4 of there may be other issues that people want to focus on, but we have a 30-minute show. So let's hear what you have planned for our city, our beautiful city of Seattle.
Well, we do have some issues that people are most concerned about, and that's mainly homelessness and public safety, and of course, trying to bring the economy back after the pandemic has happened. So on my platform, I have some very specific things to try to deal with the homeless situation, and it focuses on mental health and drug addiction counseling. And it also focuses on the individuals who are living in tents and makeshift structures on sidewalks and RVs on the streets. And I know a lot of my other candidates in the race, are saying that housing is what I'm hearing.
Right.
But I believe that the first thing we have to do is bring dignity back to the people who are going through this situation of homelessness.
Right.
And the way to do that is to find them temporary spaces around the city where we can give them everything that they need as they're waiting to transition into housing or into jobs, or maybe back to where they came from.
Okay.
And this is a way to get them off the streets and make sure that we have them in safe places. But we also want to have the service providers that can help them with their mental health addiction and also drug addiction, so they can be stabilized, so that when we do transition them, whether it's in housing, what have you, they can be successful. But in my opinion, and a lot of people say the same thing, is that to take someone off the streets and immediately put them into housing and you have not helped them deal with their issue, whether it's drug or mental health, they're not going to be very successful in that regard just by having housing. So we have to make sure we do these other things as well. So that's the main thing that my approach on homelessness focuses on. With public safety, it's important that we have all of our public safety agencies, which are the fire department, police department, paramedics, and human service providers. They have to be well funded, well staffed, and well supported so they can keep everybody safe. And we always have to keep hiring people as the city continues to grow. So my goal is to make sure as mayor that we keep all those agencies strong, well funded, and well staffed, but we also want to make sure that we are constantly looking out for those employees that are not good employees, especially in the police department. And we need to make it a point to do better documentation through what I call progressive discipline and get them off of the force. And then we're looking at the economy. Of course, we have to look at downtown and all of our neighborhood business districts. We have to do whatever we can to help the economy rebound by making sure that these businesses can get customers back, hire their employees, and continue to operate before COVID came about. But in order to do that, the one thing that I've seen change over the years that I want to address is the fact that we have negative information or negative rhetoric coming out of City Hall against our large corporations. And the large corporations support our small businesses, and the small businesses support our larger corporations. So it's important for us at City Hall not to be negative about our business community, but be more of a partner with our business community so that we can work together to keep the economy strong and vibrant, as well as there's opportunities where the private sector can help us meet our funding shortfalls by making donations directly to the city. But it's kind of hard to ask them to do anything if we continuously beat them up in the media or blame them for everything that's going on. So we have to stop that, change that narrative so that we can build that partnership where the business community can support all of us. We have economic rebound. So those are the top three things I'm hearing. I have a lot of other things that are part of my platform that others are not talking about, but I'll answer any questions that you want to ask me in reference to anything.
So the highlight so far I hear is one, homelessness and bringing dignity to that population. Two, the police accountability, holding them accountable. And three is the collaboration with businesses. And I'm actually surprised hearing, obviously I did not listen to any of your speeches before. I read some stuff online about you, but I'm actually impressed with your background. I didn't know some of the stuff you shared earlier about your father and grandfather being, very politically minded. So that's kind of something new I just learned on this show today. So you have reason to be proud of your past and also bringing that path, that history to your current election. The experience and history of your past from your father to your grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
So let's touch on the first part, bringing dignity to the homeless population. A few years ago, when the city sort of, I don't know, you recall, there was a policy that opened the door for the homeless from all of the other cities to come to Seattle. I can't remember, it was 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. Do you remember this? And then suddenly we have a lot of homeless people coming from San Francisco and other cities because there's a variety of funding and supportive agencies that pledge to support this population. And there are I don't want to say there are flood, but I've been told that there is a certain inpouring of that population to the city, and it caused a lot of tent city issues and whatnot. What do you think about that? The past, year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, I think what happened, there was some confusion. Seattle designated itself as a sanctuary city, and a sanctuary city is a city that will not cooperate with the federal government, and mainly under President Trump's administration, because he was cracking down so hard on illegal immigrants coming to the city, to the states, to try to get away from the violence in the Central America area. So they quite naturally were leaving, trying to seek asylum, coming to the United States. But of course, President Trump decided that he would, deploy ICE all over the country to find people and to send them back. And it was just a very abusive situation. So Seattle decided to be a sanctuary city to welcome these individuals who were trying to find asylum and to get help from, from leaving where they come from to be safe. And so we were taking people in. But I think the confusion by a lot of other people who are already in the United States, when you say sanctuary city, a lot of people thought that meant for anyone to come to this city and we would take care of you.
Right.
So there's some confusion there. And as a result of that, a lot of people, not only those immigrants who were trying to get asylum, but you also had a lot of people who heard Seattle's a sanctuary city and they start showing up, and that's still the situation.
Right.
And again, the sanctuary city was a response to President Trump. So I've said that maybe we need to no longer designate ourselves as a sanctuary city so that people will not be confused about that. And then we have to take measures like what you will see in my Dignity project to try to make sure that we stop the flow of people coming in and try to help those that we can help that are here. And in some instances, when we're talking about transitioning people out of housing, out of homelessness, it's more than housing. It can also be transitioning them back to their families or their loved ones from across the country, which is part of my plan to do so. So I think there was some confusion about that. And people thought that sanctuary city meant for everyone to show up, but it was just designed to help those immigrants who were trying to get away from ICE because of Trump's brutal acts to try to gather them up and send them back from where they came from.
Right. How would you, social services and housing, the housing and dignity program that you're talking about, wouldn't that encourage more homelessness, or more homeless people, or destitute people from all walk of life everywhere in the country to come here if we create this safe haven for them?
No, the project is to focus on the current people who are living on the streets in tents and those in RVs. And once we get them into these dignity communities, they will be registered in a portal so we know who they are and we can keep track of them. From that point forward, anyone who comes, they would, if they go to a shelter, if the shelter can take them, that's, that they may do that, but they may not. But my goal is with these dignity projects is to deal with the ones who we have now and then put protocols in place where if someone were to show up from, Portland, they've never been here to Seattle, then we need to ask questions. So I would like to put something in place that basically says, if you cannot show within the past 5 years that you have an affiliation with Seattle, that you've lived here, you have family here, or you worked here, then we're going to try to make accommodations to send you back to where you came from. It seems a little harsh, but we cannot continue to allow people to come from across the country to Seattle. And we're using people's tax dollars to try to help individuals. But we need to try to help those who are already here, while at the same time stopping the flow of others who are trying to continue to come to take advantage of the situation. And then we can move on from there. But like I said, this is the compassionate side, which is creating these dignity communities. But the firmness side is that we have to stop the flow. And we also have to enforce the laws that are already in the book so that people be motivated not to try to sleep on the streets in tents and RVs, because there are laws on the books that already deal with that. So expectations, compliance, and what have you is going to be very important to get control of this situation. I'm not criminalizing people for being homeless, but what I'm doing is try to contain the situation in such a way where we can help them get out of homelessness, where at the same time help them deal with their drug addiction and the mental health issues as well. So I have a unique plan from everyone else because it doesn't focus on housing first. It focuses on stabilizing individuals and helping them out, and also stopping the flow and having expectations of people.
That's unique, and I like it. I like it. I recently my car got broken in for the second time in 8 months, and I'm parking right here under the building in a garage that doesn't have a secure entry. It's just kind of open. People can drive in and park for this building, and I just felt like this area is targeted, possibly due to the homeless. I don't want to make these kind of sweeping assumption, but I did see people loitering, homeless people hanging around. So it's an easy target for the population, and I kind of resent the fact that we have so many crimes and issues that may have stemmed from this overburden that our city has to carry. So I certainly would like to see something to rectify the situation and return our beautiful city to the state that it was before all hands everywhere.
Well, there's several reasons why there's an uptick in crime. One reason is that we have lost almost 300 police officers, and you have gangs around the country, and they're not dumb by no means. These gangs are pretty smart, and where they look for opportunities where they can go, where they know that public safety is in jeopardy, like here in Seattle, because we've lost so many police officers. So if you see all the graffiti, unprecedented amounts of graffiti around the city, that is a clear sign from what I know from where I come from, because I've lived in New York and I've lived in Philly and Baltimore. Then when you see a lot of graffiti all over the city, that means that gangs have come to the city, and they've come because we don't have the capacity to handle them because we lost so many officers. So that's one reason crime is picked up, especially when it comes to gun violence. Another reason is because people who are on drugs, they will do whatever they can to feed their habit. They will steal, they will rob, they will do whatever they can. So that is happening as well, that we have so many people that are using drugs and we're not treating them properly. So that's another reason why crime is up, because people have to feed that habit. And then another reason why crime is up is we don't hold people accountable for their actions. And what I'm saying is that our legal system is not prosecuting people who commit crimes. Right. I've heard many times people who commit crimes, they get arrested, charged, and they go before our prosecutors, and they decide that they're not going to prosecute, and they put them back on the streets. Right. At some point, we have to begin to have consequences and hold people accountable for committing crimes, because if we don't hold them accountable for small crimes, they get worse and worse and worse. Yeah. Really. And now we're all victims. Right. So we have to do a better job partnering with our police department. We have to rebuild the police department, and the relationships have to be built between the communities, all communities, and the police department, so we can help them prevent crime and also help them solve crime. We need to have more treatment, make more investments into drug addiction treatment and mental health, mainly drug addiction. And of course, we need to make sure that our city attorney and our district attorney come up with some creative ways to hold people accountable for their actions and not just let them go without any type of consequence.
I like what I'm hearing. The third part is the helping businesses recover from the pandemic. And you talked about building collaboration alliance with small business. Not just, you didn't say the word small business. I'm wondering if you're talking about big corporations like Amazon, Facebook, Google, in that South Lake Union corridor, and connected to the city on the
I'm looking at all businesses, large and small. And I think the problem that we're having in Seattle, we try to separate them based on the size or the amount of money that they make. But all businesses are important, small businesses and large businesses, even home businesses. They're very important. And we have to make sure that City Hall is doing everything possible to support all the businesses. There is a network between small businesses and large businesses where they work together and they need each other to support the economy. For example, the large corporations need small businesses because of the quality of life factors that they provide. If someone needs to get their hair cut, beauty shops, nail salons, dry cleaners, those are small businesses. And the people who work at these large corporations rely on those small businesses for their quality of life factor. Even restaurants and what have you. The small businesses depend on the large corporations because they have people that make a lot of money and they have to spend that money somewhere.
The trickle down.
Exactly. Well, if they want local cuisine, they're going to come down to the South End to eat, or they're going to go to the International District.
Right.
So they're going to spend money with the small businesses because not all of them want to eat at chain restaurants. They like to come to local restaurants. But on top of that, they do a lot of business with one another back and forth. So if that's the case, which it is, and I've been doing economic development for many years, the local government has to create a business-friendly atmosphere for all businesses, large and small, which means that we should not beat up the large corporations and blame them for everything. And at the same time, we should make sure that we're more proactive with our small businesses and making sure that we're not doing things that will impact them, like doing construction in front of the business and causing a disruption in traffic where they can't get customers. Right. So we need to make sure we mitigate that. But at the same time, in large corporations, let's stop criticizing them, build a partnership so that when we do need financial assistance, the private sector will step up, make donations directly to the city, which they can write off per the IRS, which means that there's no need we can reduce the amount of levies that we have. We don't have to always raise people's property tax. We don't have to put forth payroll taxes. All we have to do is have a relationship with our business community, go to them and say, we're short this amount of money. Can you help us out? And with the amount of wealth that we have here in our business community, they will step up and help. But right now, they will not do it because they're constantly getting beat up and bashed and criticized by our local officials, and that has to stop. We have to stop that. I'm going to make sure that stops when I'm elected mayor of Seattle. We can't do that anymore.
It's some very exciting plan that you have for our city, and I love hearing what you have to say today. I appreciate you coming on our show to share your vision of your platform, how to make our city a better place to live. So thank you so much, Lance, for joining me on this show today. What is your campaign website?
My campaign website is lancerandall2021.com.
All right.
And Monique, thank you for the opportunity to talk to you, and congratulations on your show. And I look forward to talking to you, hopefully in the near future. Again.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Next on the show, we will have on Rainier Avenue Radio, we'll have Shattering the Glass Ceiling. Please stay tuned for our next episode of Shattering the Glass Ceiling. Have a good afternoon, everyone.